Hello and welcome to the Mind Body Masters podcast, the podcast teaching you how to heal yourself from the inside out. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be talking all about burnout, but not in the traditional sense. We are going to be looking at burnout and how burnout is caused not from doing too much like people believe, but how it's caused from being out of alignment. So if you want to know what I mean by that and how you can start to heal yourself, well, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jake Curry. As a former chiropractor, I realised that people's physical symptoms started in their mind and not in their body, which is why I now teach people how to heal themselves from the inside out. Now, you don't need to be a monk or a mystic to heal yourself. You just need to learn how to master your mind-body connection. And this podcast is going to show you how. You're going to learn how to understand the hidden meaning of your symptoms, resolve the old emotional baggage that's kept you stuck, and gain practical tools to reduce the stress in your life. This is going to give you the ability to heal not only physically, but also spiritually. And this comes with a dangerous level of freedom. So let's help you become a mind-body master. So as you probably gathered from the intro clip there, today we're going to be talking all about burnout. Now, burnout is essentially the state of mental and physical exhaustion, and it's typically thought to be brought on by doing too much stuff. Well, today I'm going to turn that completely on its head because most people do think that burnout comes from doing too much, from running around doing too many jobs and too many chores and being too busy at work with life and the kids and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, what I've realized and what I've come to discover is that burnout doesn't come from doing too much at all. It comes from being on the wrong path. Now, the reason I say that is firstly, my experience with struggling with burnout, which I'll get to a little bit later. But think about this. There's people out there in the world, like Tony Robbins, for example. Tony Robbins, like if you've ever looked at what he goes through in a day, he'll be up at God knows what hour, early morning, really, really early, like 4 a.m. or something, where he's getting into his exercise, he's getting into all his stuff, and then he's on stage presenting at these workshops for like 14 hours, and then he's off doing some training with the team and blah, blah, blah up until 1 o'clock at night. But the thing is, people like him don't ever struggle with burnout. Now, they do twice as much as what you and I would likely get through in a day. But the thing is, there's people out there like Tony Robbins, and I know he's a kind of extreme example, but he's out there absolutely doing so much stuff which people typically associate with getting burnout, and yet he's energized and inspired and happy and healthy. So what is really going on here? And when I was a chiropractor, I had two stories from when I was a chiropractor. The first one is a lot of the people that I saw, in particular the women that I worked with, they were struggling with a lot of what they'd call burnout. They were exhausted all the time. They were mentally exhausted. They were tired. They didn't have enough energy to sort of exercise and train and do all the sort of day-to-day things. And these people all put it down to, I'm just doing too much. I'm too stressed. There's too much going on in my life. And so this was a common thing that I was seeing with my patients when I was practicing. And the thing was, then I also started to see it as well. And this is another example of how burnout doesn't come from doing too much, how burnout comes from being out of alignment. My personal story with practicing is when I set my practice up, I was so excited. It was amazing. I got to literally create the practice of my dreams, a really amazing space, and got to start a business which was really intense and really hard work. With all the building and all that kind of stuff that goes on with starting a business and all of the kind of normal things of setting up a new practice, a new business. For me, it was something I'd never done before. So there was a lot of work. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I was working 12-hour days. I was on the tools doing stuff in the practice physically. I was out doing accounting things and banking things and inventory things and setting up systems and procedures and all this kind of stuff to get the business ready to be operational, to start helping people. And the thing was, during that time, I was absolutely energized. I was so inspired. I was so energized, and I was really happy. I didn't have any symptoms of burnout at all. Far from it. I was, people were looking at me going, Jake, how are you doing it? And it wasn't just the fact that you might just say, oh yeah, well, you were stressed and so you had cortisol and adrenaline pumping through your body. Yeah, I did, but I was also quite inspired, and this went on for quite a long time. And during that time, I never experienced any signs of burnout, any symptoms of mental or physical exhaustion, even though I was doing so much. Now, fast forward a year and a half down the track. The business was going really well. I was working less and less. I was probably only working 25 hours a week max, seeing patients and doing my thing. But the thing was, during that stage, I was mentally and physically exhausted. I was absolutely taxed. I would get home and just want to sleep, and it would be really difficult for me to wake up in the morning. And this is when I would classify myself as having burnout. I would classify myself as having mental and physical exhaustion. And the interesting thing was, during this time, I was doing far less than what I was when I was setting up the practice. But what was different was all of a sudden I felt out of alignment with what I was doing. So during this time, and this was a really difficult time for me, it was a real identity crisis, when I started to discover how stress and emotions and unresolved emotional issues in our life really contribute to our physical health, it became increasingly difficult to practice as a traditional chiropractor. And so during this time, I felt very out of alignment. I felt out of alignment with what I was doing. And this is what made me realize that burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from being out of alignment. So I realized in myself that this state of exhaustion, this mental, physical exhaustion that I was experiencing, this burnout, was all because I was on the wrong path. I was doing the wrong stuff. And this was a hard pill to swallow. It was a hard pill to swallow. And I'm going to explain the German medicine perspective of burnout and adrenal fatigue and things like that in a moment. But with that, it was a hard pill to swallow. So I pushed on like most people would. It's like, oh no, I'll just work through it. It's not that I'm out of alignment. I'm just having a bit of an off time. And this went on for 6 to 8 months. And during that time, the burnout got worse and worse and worse. And nothing changed with my burnout until I actually made the decision to change. I actually made the decision to move on from practicing as a chiropractor and start stepping into the work that I'm doing now. And once I made that decision, once I made that transition, and once I decided that the path that I was on that was no longer serving me, once I decided to get off that path and move into more what I call alignment with who I am and what I'm doing, that's when everything changed. Now, nothing changed in my lifestyle other than that. My diet was the same, my exercise regime was the same. I was seeing the same amount of people at work, if not more people. But I just felt more inspired. I felt more energized, and I felt more alive. And for me, this is when I realized that by getting into alignment, that is the best cure for burnout. By getting into doing what you are here to do and being on the planet for the reason that you're here. And we all, at some level, know that we're here for a particular purpose, whether it be to do a podcast and teach people they can heal themselves, or whether it's to be a mum and to raise your kids in a really kind and compassionate, inspiring way, or maybe you're a teacher and it's your passion to serve children, or maybe you're an artist and you really just want to do watercolors and show people beauty in that, or maybe you're a musician and you want to help people recognize some of the joys and pleasures from playing piano. We all have these little passions, and I think this is kind of a bit of a spiritual, bit of woo-woo here coming at you, and I'm probably going to start sharing a bit more of this with you. But I think we all come to earth with something that we're here to do, something that we're born to do. And when we're doing that, we feel aligned, we feel inspired, we feel passionate, we feel energized, and everything just is easy and fun and happy. But when we actually oppose that, when we reject what we're here to do, and when we force ourselves to do something that isn't necessarily in alignment, our bodies are going to give us the signals like mine did. Our bodies are going to show us, hey, you're out of alignment here. I'm going to slow your ass down. I'm going to slow you down so much that you're just exhausted mentally and physically, so that you can stop doing what you're doing, so that you can get back onto the right path. Now, the more that I work with people who are struggling with burnout, the more I realize that this is true. And when we work together and help people to figure out what their alignment is and helping them to recapture that and to step back into it, it's so interesting to see how people's energy levels shift almost dramatically. And this is so cool. And this is another way in which your body follows your mind. Understanding that your body is simply a reflection of what is going on in your mind, the thoughts that you're having, the stress in your life. This is a really amazing way in which we can not only heal physically, reclaim our energy, and reclaim our inspiration, but more to the point, where we can start to actually step back into alignment. And this is so cool. So from the G&M perspective, things like adrenal fatigue, when we are an animal is on the wrong path, or when we are struggling to make a decision, or we've made a wrong decision, in order to slow in order to slow us down, will actually reduce the amount of stress hormones that we produce to basically reduce our energy levels, to reduce the likelihood that we continue down the wrong path. And because the further we go down the wrong path, the harder it is to get back. So I like to think, if you are someone who's struggling with burnout, think of this mental and physical exhaustion that you're going through, not as a problem, but as a real blessing, because these symptoms that you're experiencing, the exhaustion, the burnout, are actually here to help you to get back into alignment, to find that spark, to find that thing that you just love to do. And when you do it, time just stops and the world opens up for you. And without the mental and physical exhaustion that you're experiencing, chances are that you would continue to go down this path that isn't necessarily right for you. You continue to force your way down doing something that you don't necessarily love, or you aren't necessarily in alignment with, because you have obligations to others, or maybe you have a job that you need to keep and you need the finances, or whatever it might be. And there's nothing wrong with doing those things, but as long as you can find alignment within that. But recognizing that when you are exhausted, it's your body's way of telling you, hey, where is it that you're out of alignment? Where is it that you're doing something that is not in alignment with who you are and what you're here to do? And when you can start to listen to that message, instead of being pissed off that you're so exhausted all the time, you can start to take action. You can start to do some really transformative inner work. Start to analyze what's going on in your life. Start to work with people and start to find ways in which you can step back into personal alignment. Start to enjoy what you're doing and start to bring that inspiration and joy and passion to what you're doing. Because what I know, and one of the things that I'm sure Tony Robbins could vouch for, is when you are in alignment with what you're doing, when you love what you do, and this is a bit cliche, but when you love what you do, is you have all the energy in the world. Inspiration and passion are the best sources of energy that you can ever have. And if you don't have that with what you're doing, it's no wonder why you're experiencing these burnout symptoms. So that's my message for you for today. Burnout doesn't come from doing too much. Burnout comes from being on the wrong path. So if you are someone who is struggling with burnout, adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, chronic fatigue, or something along these lines, have a look at what's going on in your life. Have a look at where you feel out of alignment. And if you can start to make some practical steps towards getting back into alignment, getting into that state of inspiration, passion, and excitement, that is when not only will you feel more inspired and happy and joyful day to day and enjoy the process of whatever you're doing, but that is also when you heal physically, because what we know is that a healthy mind creates a healthy body. So I hope you found this episode useful. If you do have a friend or a family member who's struggling with burnout or exhaustion symptoms, please share this episode with them, because I think this message is so important, and there's so many people out there that are struggling with these particular symptoms, and they're doing all of the traditional things. They're doing all of the nutrition, the diet, the supplements, the medications, the therapies. But unless you're dealing with what's going on in your mind, unless you're dealing with your thoughts, and unless you're working towards getting back into alignment and finding that purpose and passion in life, nothing is going to change. So please share this message with them so that they can start looking for themselves and healing from the inside out. All right, guys, have a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon for the next episode of the Mind Body Masters podcast. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't already, I've got a free mini course available right now. This mini course is teaching you the science of how stress and emotion impact your physical body and create pain in particular. So this course is giving you the science and the foundation that is Germany medicine. Now, this information literally changed the course of my life, and I know it'll change yours too. It gives you a whole new perspective on pain, it gives you a whole new perspective on your body and your mind, and really starts to teach you how to master that mind-body connection so that you can tap in to your body's ability to heal itself. So if you're interested in learning about this, this mini course is completely free and available right now. It will be going up to $197 in the future, so if you are interested, make sure you jump on that quickly. To access that, you get instant access to this mini course, which has videos and also a brilliant guide with journal prompts and questions to ask yourself. This is completely free and available online at the website mindbodymasters.com. So get over there, check it out, and make sure you join our free Facebook group, the Heal Yourself from the Inside Out group, and let us know what you think. Let us know how you get on with that and what realizations and revelations you've had, particularly if they do come to burnout. All right, guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for listening to the Mind Body Masters podcast. Now, everyone has the ability to heal themselves with the right tools, information, and guidance. So if you have someone in your life that needs to hear this message, please share this episode with them so they too can start healing from the inside out. Now, if you've liked this episode and you think more people need to hear this message, please give us a great rating on iTunes because it helps more people to actually hear this message and realize the power that they have. Now, if you'd like more information and you'd like to access bonus video content and even have the ability to ask me questions directly, then head on over to my free Facebook group, the Mind Body Masters Heal Yourself from the Inside Out group. Or you can head on over to Instagram and slide into my DMs there. My handle is Jake_Curry. All right, guys, thank you so much again for listening, and I'll catch you again on the next episode.